The man who scaled Mar-a-Lago, a midnight obsession for Kai Trump. How did he breach America's most secure resort? What drives someone to such lengths? What twisted fantasy was playing in his mind as he scaled those walls at midnight? The Midnight Intruder, the man who tried to marry Trump's granddaughter. When Delusion breached America's most guarded resort. How to get close to the Trumps. Reyes didn't use sophisticated equipment, inside help, or elaborate planning. He simply scaled the towering walls surrounding the exclusive resort. It's just past midnight on June 3, 2025. It was just past midnight when a shadow appeared outside one of the most secure properties in America, not for riches, not for revenge, but for love. The opulent Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida, known for its grandeur and tight security, is cloaked in silence. Suddenly a figure emerges from the shadows, scaling the perimeter wall with determination. His mission? To find and marry a teenage girl he has never met but believes he's destined to be with. But before we dive deeper, Mar-a-Lago is not just a luxury resort, but the informal Southern White House. This is where national security briefings happen, where world leaders visit, where the most sensitive conversations in American politics take place. And a 23-year-old with delusions of romance just climbed over the wall. How many others could do the same? How many have we not caught? The Secret Service scrambles, alarms blare, and a terrified scream echoes through Mar-a-Lago. He wasn't there to steal secrets or make political statements. He wanted to marry Kai Trump, the granddaughter of Donald J. Trump. How did he get in? Who is he? And what does he really want? His name? Anthony Thomas Reyes, a 23-year-old from Miami with no criminal record and an impossible dream. Let's rewind to the moment everything went wrong. He drove over 70 miles that night, not to protest, not to attack, but to climb the walls of Mar-a-Lago and find her. How did he evade security? He dressed as staff, exploited a blind spot in patrol rotations, and carried a fake invitation. By the time Secret Service reacts, he's already inside the main hall, just feet away from the Trump family. Jason doesn't have a weapon, just a handwritten letter, a cheap engagement, ring and wild eyes. He shouts Kai's name, insisting they're meant to be. This wasn't his first attempt. Months earlier, he tried again and again to get inside, and now, under the cover of darkness, he was back. Could this have been deadly? Security. Failures exposed. But what made him think he could just walk into a fortress guarded by Secret Service, private security, and razor wire fencing? He had already attempted to breach Mar-a-Lago once before. When that failed, did he study the property? Did he plan better routes? Did he spend weeks, maybe months, fixated on this teenage girl he'd never met? To understand why he came, you have to understand who she is. Logo 2. Kai's Instagram highlights, rally speeches, family photos. Kai Madison Trump, 18 years old, 3 million followers, rising conservative star. She wasn't just a granddaughter. She was part of the brand. Kai smiling beside her, grandfather. She traveled with him, spoke for him, shared glimpses of their bond online, giving fans like Reyes a window into a world they'd never see up close. So cute. She's amazing. But for some, admiration turned into something darker. He didn't break in through the front gate. He scaled the wall. Around midnight, he reached the top, only to be caught by alarms, floodlights, and eventually, local law enforcement. When officers asked why he was there, he didn't hesitate. I want to marry Kai. I want to spread the gospel to Trump. Was it mental illness, religious mania, or just a twisted fantasy gone too far? At first, Reyes was released on a $1,000 bond, but within hours, authorities realized the gravity of what had happened. According to police reports, this wasn't his first attempt. He'd been caught trespassing before. Yet he returned, more determined, more desperate. This wasn't just trespassing. It was a breach of one of the most sensitive locations in the country. What would have happened if he had succeeded in getting further into the compound? What if he had encountered Kai Trump? If he'd made it inside? If Kai had been alone? What might have happened next? As Anthony Thomas Reyes sits in a Florida jail cell waiting to face federal charges, the questions multiply. How many other Anthony Reyes are out there, fixated on political figures and their families? If someone can scale Mar-a-Lago's walls, twice, what other secure locations are vulnerable? How do we protect the families of public figures without turning them into prisoners? What drove a 23-year-old from Texas to become so obsessed with an 18-year-old he'd never met? Experts say this case isn't just about one man. It's a warning shot about how dangerous obsession can become when it targets fame, power, and youth. We live in a world where influencers are royalty and public figures are only a click away. The line between fandom and fixation has never been thinner. And stories like this remind us, it only takes one person to cross it. For Kai, life will go on. College, career, a future shaped by legacy. But the shadow of that night, and the man who came looking for her, will always linger. This wasn't just a tabloid headline. It was a wake-up call. How did this happen? In an age where we can track a person's movements through their phone, where facial recognition technology is everywhere, where the Secret Service has unlimited resources, how does someone scale the walls of Mar-a-Lago twice? Fame, power, obsession. How far would someone go to reach you? The midnight wall climber has been caught, but the shadows he cast over American security will linger long after his court date. Because if it happened once, if it happened twice, it can happen again. As the sun rose over Palm Beach on Wednesday morning, the Secret Service was conducting a thorough review of their protocols. Somewhere in Texas, Reyes's family and friends were trying to understand how someone they knew became capable of such a desperate act. And in the corridors of power, security officials were asking the hard questions about how to prevent the next Anthony Thomas Reyes. Was this a failed romance? Or a near-miss assassination attempt? Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, hit subscribe. Because in a world ruled by influence, the next threat may already be watching.